In this presentation, we try to answer the question: was the Quran of the first Muslims, that, according to Quran, Allah preserves, the same as the Quran today? Second statement, Quran was dictated by Allah, and it would be the word of Allah revealed. The Quran pretends to be of much higher status than the Torah and the Gospels. And he tries to appear revealed from Allah, word after word, and letter after letter. However, it is easy to check the truth or error of that, using, for example, the Sana'a manuscripts. They were discovered by chance year 1972, hidden in the roof of a mosque. Some of them count among the oldest Quranic texts we know, going back to the first centuries in the history of Islam. It seems that somebody, at some time, hid them, in order to avoid that they be damaged. It is believed that some of them have been written by Ali bin Abi Talib himself. The German researcher Gerd Puen found, in 1981, that some of those texts are written in the rare Hijazi script, which does not have dots in order to differentiate the letters. And it is the first script in which the Quran was written, before the Kufic script. According to Wikipedia, carbon-14 identification yielded, for the oldest parchment, a date of 39 years after Muhammad's death, with a 99% precision. This ancient manuscript is known as the Quran of Sana'a, and the rest is known as the Sana'a manuscripts, that were discovered in 1972. It appeared that the text in some Sana'a manuscripts differ, in their text organization, from the standard Quranic text, which is Uthman's Quranic text. An example is in the manuscript number Dam 0132.1, where Surah Yas, number 36, is placed immediately after Surah Al-Shu'ara, number 26, and, in this place, 9 surahs are missing. There is another manuscript, currently present in Berlin, in which Surah Al-Ahzab number 33 is placed immediately after Surah Al-Shu'ara number 26, and, in this place, 6 surahs are missing. Point 21. Do you realize the meaning of 9 Quranic surah, missing in their place, when this manuscript was written? And this is while the prophetic history teaches us, that Surat Al-Fatir number 35, which does not appear in its place in this manuscript, was revealed before Surat Al-Shu'ara number 26, and before Surat Al-Baqarah number 2, which are both found therein. So we see that the ordering of the Quranic text has varied, in the Qurans of the first Muslims. It was also found that many of those manuscripts were palimpsests, which means that an original parchment was written upon a first time, the lower text, then this text was erased, and then a new text was written, the upper text. And this procedure may have been repeated in different places in the parchment. In the case of Sana'a's palimpsests, both upper and lower texts are Qurans, written in the Hijazi script. It appears that the upper text does not differ from the standard Quranic text. However, in some of these manuscripts, the lower text differs in some words, and some meanings, from the standard Quranic text. And the oldest example known today, is the Quran of Sana'a manuscript. The scholars Sadeghi and Goodarzi studied it. A summary of these studies is found in the Sana'a manuscripts article of Wikipedia, more than 80 deviations from the standard text, and possibly more, because today, only a part of this manuscript is found. Plus, verse 85 of Surah Al-Tawbah, number 9, is missing from its place in this Quran. And in Surah Al-Baqarah, number 2, in verse 196, according to the studies of Sadeghi and Goodarzi, the Quran of Sana'a recites, and perform properly the Hajj and Umrah for Allah. But if you are prevented, sacrifice a hadi such as you can afford, and do not shave, until the hadi reaches the place of sacrifice. If any of you is sick or has an ailment in his scalp, then a fidya, ransom, of either observing Sawm, fasting, or offering sacrifice. While the standard text is, and perform properly the Hajj and Umrah for Allah. But if you are prevented, sacrifice a hadi such as you can afford, and do not shave your head until the hadi reaches the place of sacrifice. And whosoever of you is ill, or has an ailment in his scalp, then fidya, ransom, of either observing Psalm, fasting, or giving sadaqah, or offering a sacrifice. Hence, it appears that some of the first Muslims were performing the Hajj in a way that varies from the current standard way. Some scholars proposed that the Sana'a manuscripts were notebooks for training students in memorizing the Quran, and that this would explain the many errors in them. However, the price of the manuscripts made of leather was expensive at the time, due to the difficulty of making them, and that is why they were wiped and used again. So it is inconceivable that manuscripts were used, rather than a blackboard and a chalk, or equivalent, for training students. And, also, the differences between the Sana'a manuscripts and Uthman's Quran are concentrated in some verses and surahs. But, for most of the rest of the surahs, we find their text identical to the standard text. This indicates that the Sana'a manuscripts were not notebooks for training students at memorizing the Quran, but they were identical to the remembered text, ready to use. In his book on the Quran, Ibn Abi Dawud reported the hadiths of the first Muslims, who were narrating the collection of the Quran in the manuscripts. The hadiths of Ibn Abi Dawud are not all truthful. We relied on the book published by the Grass Foundation for publication, distribution, publicity, and advertising, where Abu Osama Salim bin Eid al-Hilali verified the texts of Ibn Abi Dawud, adjusted them and put them in order, and published reported hadiths with their chain of transmitters, and his own comments on them. We will only mention the hadiths Osama found truthful, sahih. To facilitate understanding our text, we will use the hadith numbers developed by Abu Osama. We observe that these hadiths recount that there was no agreement between the first Muslims about the ordering and the exact text of the Quran. And this, till the reign of Caliph Uthman. So, we learned in the discussions, hadiths, number 70 to 72, the history of collecting the Quran. From Abi Bakr and the Battle of Al-Yamamah, where the killing had many Muslim memorizers of Quran disappear, and the collecting of the Quran, Mushaf, of Abi Bakr, by Zayd bin Thabit. And that, during the invasion, Ghazwat, of Azerbaijan and Armenia, Uthman had to resolve disagreements between Muslims about the Quran. He consequently collected the Quranic text another time. And he ordered to burn all the existing copies that would be different from his version. And even Abu Bakr's Mushaf, after Hafsah's funeral. And the hadiths teach us what these differences were. There is a hadith, Sahih, Qudsi, recorded by Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, in his book on the virtues of the Quran 66, hadith number 13. That hadith informs us that the Quran was revealed in 7 letters, that is, 7 narrations. We see that the Uthman Quran is only one narration, and that whatever other Quranic text would be illegal. An example of these different narrations is in the following hadith number 14, where we learn that the first believers were reciting the Al-Furqan Surah, number 25, with words that differed between the reciters. And Ibn Abi Dawud correlates that. In the hadith number 151 of his book, we learn that Umar bin al-Khattab was reciting the Surah Al-Mudaththir, number 74, in the verses 40 to 42, in gardens, paradise, they will ask, O you, what has caused you to enter hell? While the standard text is, in gardens, paradise, they will ask the mujrimun, the criminals, what has caused you to enter hell? In Hadith 213, we learn that Abdullah bin Abbas was reciting Surah Al-Nisa, number 4, in verse 24, all others are lawful, provided you seek them with your money in marriage, and not illegally, and when you have enjoyed in order to get an offspring from them, give them their due as prescribed. While the standard text is, all others are lawful, provided you seek them with your money in marriage, and not illegally, and when you have enjoyed from them, give them their due as prescribed. In Hadiths 227, 237 and 242, we learn that Aisha, Hafsa, and Salma were reciting the Surah Al-Baqarah, number 2, in the verse 238, guard strictly as salawat, the prayers, and the middle salat, and the Asr salat, and stand before Allah with obedience. While the standard text is, guard strictly as salawat, the prayers, and the middle salat, and stand before Allah with obedience. And we learn in the Hadith 431, that Uthman's Quran was written without differentiating dots on the letters, nor accents. We also learn that the first one who put dots in the Quranic texts is Yahya bin Yamar. Hence, we understand from all that the 7 letters have words that differ, words added or missing, and, also, meanings that differ, because of the absence of dots and accents. And, finally, Muhammad bin Ismail al-Bukhari informs us, in his book From the Virtues of Quran 66, Hadith number 9, that the Caliph Uthman sent to every horizon, which means all the kingdoms and countries, a copy of the Quran they had just collected. And that he commanded that every other Quranic text, in paper or parchment, be burned. Point 22. If the Quran was dictated by Allah, and Allah preserves his sayings, and Muhammad is the last of all prophets, from where did Uthman get the authority to erase, and burn, some of Allah's sayings? Wikipedia informs us that Abu al-Aswad Salim bin Umro bin Sufyan al-Duwaili al-Kanani is the person who introduced the science of grammar in Arabic, and that he put accents on the letters of the Quranic texts, and dots on the Arabic letters, on the order of the Imam Ali bin Abi Talib. But, according to the history of collection of the Quran, we have no trace that the Imam Ali bin Abi Talib assembled a committee of companions to determine the accuracy of accentuation, with respect to what was revealed. Point 23. Hence, accentuation in Quran came from the science of grammar, and not from the chests of the companions, or from what they wrote. From where did Ali's authority come to accentuate and perhaps change some of the sayings of Allah? After Uthman's death, and in spite of everything, the Quran continued to change, and, today, we know Uthman's Quran in 10 main readings, that differ and are even contradictory in words, accentuations, and points. Is it possible that Allah contradicts his own sayings? More than half the verses have different versions, up to 10 different versions and 10 different meanings. That is known by the people who specialize in this subject. Point 24. How come the recitations differ, even with only one accentuation, if Uthman ordered that all other copies of Quran be burned, and the Quran is a unique text that cannot be changed?